All right, fellas, I'm gonna get you some quality updates here. Now we got our social media guy that can post this stuff properly. Right here, we're working on the belt tensioner for the E-Ruck. Yesterday, I did post a different variation of this. I could probably turn it on real quick. So that was the first one that I was dealing with, which looked cool. Personally, I like it. It looks, I mean, if I was holding this billet piece in my hand, I think I'd be pretty satisfied with it. But aesthetically, once I mounted it to the swing arm, I mean, this is gonna be two different setups here. You got the one on the right and one on the left. And just kind of taking a look at it aesthetically, I don't like that, you know, we have this gap in here. It's just, I don't know, there's nothing really going on in there. It's just gonna, you know, stick out too far. And I just didn't like it, even though I do like the part itself. So we went through and we made something just kind of more streamlined and integrated into the swing arm. And literally, it's inside the swing arm. So we're gonna click this here, and it kind of gives you a view of what's going on. So it's gonna be made of these two pieces, and this is gonna slide into our tubing, and this one's gonna be the one that's gonna go into the axle in here. So this will be able to slide forward and back. We've got about 3/4 inch of adjustment. And then this is right here, we're gonna have the bolt, and this is non-threaded section there, and this is threaded, so you can slide it back and forth, and everything's just really streamlined and flush. You can't even tell that it's in there. Opposed to this piece, like I said, looks nice, but this looks a lot better. You know, it's nice and concentric. By the time your axle's actually tension on the belt, it's about center line in there. And when you look at that on the bike, it's just, I mean, it's gonna kind of have like that chopper look. It's not gonna have that, like, I don't know, like an old 80s bike with, you know, excessive amount of adjustment, and you can see all the mechanics and whatnot. So super streamlined, super cool stuff. So as an update on that, this is definitely a for sure thing. We're gonna stick to this. There are some fine tuning adjustments I have to make on my end just to make sure everything's gonna assemble properly. For one, you know, the material that we have has a weld seam in there, so we gotta make sure we have clearance for that weld seam. So that's why we have this slot in there. We're trying to get the material without a weld seam, but it seems like they don't have it, but that'll be fine. It's just another setup on our end, but it's gonna work perfect. So that's that. If we go into the swing arm in here, we have our upgraded version of the hub. So we're gonna be using Ducati dampers, these little round ones in here. It just looks so much better. I redesigned it so it's a lot lighter weight. This is gonna be two-piece to here to hold the rotor. That might change a little bit. I do have this on the 3D printer right now. There's just a rough drawing of the pulley that we have, and it'll have an adapter between that one, that pulley, and the hub in here. That's gonna carry the dampers. We have that printing. Before I go and show you the 3D printing stuff, this is still the old setup. Kind of have an idea what I mean. Like it just sticks too far back versus just cutting it off nice and round in there. Anyway, so that's gonna kind of clean up the swing arm. I know some big concerns like, hey, that looks like it made it. Forgot the guy said, look like a couple of hillbillies made it. We are not hillbillies, not yet at least. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little flare to it in the bottom in here. It's gonna act as a support on the swing arm, and it just a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. I might add something on the top, but not too much. I just don't wanna make it look too congested in there. And it also adds more room for welding in the back. So that kind of takes care of that. Moving to the 3D printer over here. We are 57% complete. I tried to rush this thing in the printing process and had to start over about 4 times. In doing so, a couple of you guys recommended Bamboo Labs printer. That thing is pretty damn sweet. And I have to get that thing for this build because this is taking goddamn forever. Gray hairs over here waiting for this thing. But that's coming along. Once we have that, fit it up into the bike. Going towards the bike over here, we have our belt. Came in, this is the correct length. It was gonna be a little tiny bit longer, but it just turns out it's just a tiny bit shorter, which is no big deal. But once we have the hub printed out, we'll fit it up, make sure everything's kosher, and then we can start machining out the real one so we can take this thing out to the real world and get you guys some numbers on the range. I'll probably roll without the rear brake so we can drive it and do some testing, get you some numbers. But that's kind of the rear brake situation in there. It's just kind of mocked up. I personally think that brake just takes away from the wheel too much. Maybe a smaller rotor might be an option. For now, that's what we're gonna do there. If you look at the T5K, he does not run a rear brake just because it has a regen braking. But for safety measures, I think all the kits, most definitely the kits are gonna be coming with a rear brake. You can choose to do what you want. We have big ass 3/4 inch axle. Don't worry, we're not going to be using these nuts that we probably used on choppers back in the 80s. We'll have something a lot cooler than that. I'll probably have spools on the end so you can put it on a bike stand. And also those are black spacers, the axles inside. So 3/4 inch bearings. It's going to be using on the hub. And is for the shock. We are parting ways with this shock. Put it on the ground and we set on it. This shock is made to be running from here to up there. And when you put it in here, it just has so much leverage that it's just super soft, even to the tightest setting in here. So I ordered a Grom shock, which is set up a lot more similar to this. If you look at a Grom shocks further in, the wheels back. The stiffness on that should be pretty good. We are going to be changing the geometry to the point that this mounting point is going to be out there, and the shock is going to be a little bit more angled. But what that's going to do for us is going to give us opportunity to make this a lot cooler. So we're going to get rid of just a flat bar in there, and it gives us more clearance right here with the tire. That's really right there. So once you get into a 13, that's going to be rubbing. So yeah, that's all going to change. It's going to look a lot better. Don't worry, it's not going to be all bare bones like that. We don't do you like that. So we're going to make that a lot cooler, get a stiffer shock, but overall concept is, stays the same. But yeah, hopefully once we 3D print, confirm the hub's good, we'll have ours machine it. There's our battery update. We talked to Chai Battery, super cool chap. He's sending us some just empty shells that we can use for mock-up. You can get you a real idea of how close, off the shelf, ready to go. Batteries are gonna fit, and yeah, there's different options. He's telling me that this one's gonna get you more range, it's gonna get you more power, depending on what you want to do. So we'll have those here, and eventually, with the numbers I have here, I can compare to what they're gonna have. This is 33.6 amp hours. I can do something like 40. We'll get you some numbers on that. We've got speedo mounted, fortunately. I mounted it upside down. We gotta fix that. It looks like that's how it's supposed to go, but it's upside down, so that's not gonna work. Yeah, front end, buttoned up. Waiting for some new brake ones. The one we got has a wrong angle. Let's wait for those. Yeah, that's kind of the update here. As soon as we get this hook out, bring some things, order some material. Start over there and get that rolling. We'll just kind of mock it up and be the test dummy for this thing. Other question we had, 12 volt. So how are you going to run all your electronics and turbine settings and stuff? You have a 72 volt battery here. This little box in here is DC to DC. It's going to take it from 72 volt down to 12 volt, and you can just run all your other stuff. So you will not need this guy. You can do what you want with that, and then you can get creative. You can get a little bit more range in there. You can do a battery pack, just bridge it, run it to the end. Little update. If you guys have any questions, leave it in the comments. I'll try to address things as much as possible. Definitely, go back and watch the video. There's a lot of questions you guys have that are answered in the videos. You can see the answer in there. Give us a opinion. We'll try to make a video about it so everybody gets that. Anyways, that's about it. And yeah, those are upside down. Some publicity stuff. Nice you guys look. Anyways, over now.